It was a great week of content here on Splash Play, but week 6 isn't over. We got Monday Night Football in front of us, Bills-Jets tonight. And of course, it should be one that, well, it'll be fun as relatively as any Monday Night Football slate can be with a lot of money up top. Of course, we're going to do what we always do here. We're going to look at the projections and the ownership projections. We're going to look at the optimizers well to find what the math is going to drive people to playing tonight in those biggest tournaments out there. We're also going to run some sims, hand build a lineup here, do all the things we always do, of course, on this fine Monday. Game today, Buffalo and the Jets, 21 implied points for Buffalo, 20 implied points for the Jets, so pretty close one. New coach coming in for the Jets, former defensive coordinator takes over, so you expect the defense to be somewhat sticky, somewhat still competent here. Let's figure it out as we go. And shout out to all you guys hanging out here. Appreciate you watching on this Monday. Technically a holiday here. I guess it's not really a holiday anymore. Is it now Indigenous People Day? I don't even know. It's an in-service day at our daycare, so I had to deal with the kid this morning, but don't worry, I'm still really focused on football. After watching Cars and Bluey for a good portion of today and just dealing with a maniac in between. Good morning, all. Had a good showdown last night. Let's keep it going. I didn't, but had a good main slate yesterday. As you might have guessed from watching the videos, pretty much all the main takes I had. Zay Flowers, McLaurin, RB takes as well, all panned out pretty well. So had a good day yesterday. Derrick Henry was really a key part of what I did as well. So hope you guys had a good one no matter what you're playing. And if not, dust yourself off. Let's get it going with this. Josh Allen, 17.7 projection, your top projected player of the day. 11K salary on this one. Josh Allen, we've seen the floor be pretty low. We know the ceiling is also pretty high. A spot against the Jets here on the year, giving up a 0.3 EPA per QB rush, basically flat average with the league. So Josh Allen being able to run the 5.2 times per game. I didn't realize Josh Allen was running that infrequently, but Josh Allen basically running as much as a Baker Mayfield, a Bo Nix, a little bit more in the red zone, 1.8 red zone rushes a game. But it might be one of those things where honestly for us as players, we might need to start to view Josh Allen a little bit differently with him not running as much. The running backs more involved, though James Cook, a toe injury. So we'll see how that affects things a little bit. But I feel like for Josh Allen, so far numerically, the numbers just aren't the same. His performance, I mean, the inaccuracy he had last week was certainly something people can highlight. The lack of rushing upside, I feel like, is something that you're not getting what you paid for in terms of your best ball ADPs where you drafted him. It's 11K salary as well. You're talking about a guy that you're paying a price tag here where it's like you're paying the price tag for the guy we've had for the last 4 years. I'm not sure we're getting that in terms of what the rushing production has been so far. Maybe kicks it up a gear in a tough spot, but 5 rushes per game for Josh Allen is not what you want to see. Breece Hall, number 2. One thing that the new coach coming in for the Jets has said is that he does want to see a commitment to the run here. Breece Hall, a guy whose workload has been solid relative to the overall economy of football, but for a bell cow back with his pedigree, maybe not quite as good. 18.6 intended touches a game for him, 5.6 which are targets. In the red zone, he's only getting 1.8 intended touches there, 1 inside the 10-yard line per game. So Breece Hall's workload also not quite as good as what it's been in previous years. Garrett Wilson still as good as ever. Obviously, when you have 20-plus targets, 25-plus targets in a game is going to boost the numbers a little bit. Garrett Wilson getting 11.4 intended touches a game. Obviously, most of which are targets, 11.2 of which are targets. So Garrett Wilson's role is pretty solid. He does project third best behind Breece Hall, behind Josh Allen. Garrett Wilson with a 14.1 projection and a higher salary than Breece Hall, which a little bit odd to see. If I had to guess, you're going to get Breece Hall in a lot more lineups than Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson is a tournament play going against Bills. That's pretty good, but certainly not world beaters. And Garrett Wilson, a viable captain and flex play today for sure. No surprise there, though. Aaron Rodgers at number 4, a 14-point projection rounded up. Not looking great for Aaron Rodgers here. This spot against Buffalo, maybe he could drop back a little more, pass a little bit more. He's dropping back about 41 times a game, which is pretty high. For comparison's sake, Josh Allen only dropping back 31 times a game. Obviously, does include some of that blowout time last week as well. For Aaron Rodgers, people are going to rush to play Josh Allen, and I get it, but with how Josh Allen has shown legitimately a single-digit floor in terms of fantasy points, I think Aaron Rodgers is a little more viable in a play than I would normally want, especially for myself as a known Aaron Rodgers fader. And James Cook at number 5, a 12.9 projection for him at a 10-2 salary. So really dog shit projections, really high salaries for the top guys. You're not losing a lot of points going to Kincaid, Shakir, even Alan Lazard, Braylon Allen, these guys not too far off. So weird slate for sure. We'll see what it means in terms of everything else coming up. Top values right now, according to Stochastic, and of course, get 15% off Stochastic data and tools if you want. Link down in the description down below. Isaiah Davis, top projected player in terms of value. So 0.7 fantasy points, $200 salary, might come up a little bit. Mac Hollins took a lot of the role from Khalil Shakir last week. Mac Hollins, though, getting Khalil Shakir back this week Probably not great for him. But Holland's a 5.9 projection at 2,400. He's probably going to come up a good amount with that projection and that salary. Greg Zuerlein as a kicker looks like a pretty good value, an 8.2 projection at a $4,400 salary. So not as highly priced as some other kickers we've seen on slates lately. Tyler Conklin, I know the fantasy points data tool says one of the better coverage matchups this week. They also did have Cole Kmet as a top tight end coverage matchup, and he clearly went off in his game yesterday in London. For Conklin here, guess a little bit of a boost for him overall, but a 7.4 projection at a 4K salary. Decent value, not a great spot overall. And the Bills D and the Jets D, not too far behind. Jets at 3,600, top 5 value. Bills just outside at a $4,600 salary with an 8.1 projection. Let's go over to ownership, see what Stokastic has here. Top owned player expected to be Josh Allen once again, 69% ownership. Maybe not so nice if Josh Allen does come through with a bad floor game. 18% at captain, so a lot of Josh Allen at captain. Seems like really concentrated ownership here. It's Allen, Breece, or Garrett Wilson picking up captain ownership. So if you go to a Bills pass catcher who don't necessarily have the highest ceiling, but Dalton Kincaid has left some points in the field. Shakir is good enough. Hopefully he'll be okay coming off the injury. James Cook, certainly one guy that can break it a little bit more. And Aaron Rodgers, if multiple pass catchers get there, I think he's a viable captain play at 7% ownership. But a lot of concentration here for Allen, Breece, and Garrett Wilson up top. Breece Hall, 65% overall, 20% at captain. So he'll be owned more at captain. It's odd to see. Usually you don't see the guy have less ownership overall, more at captain, but people playing Breece Hall, if he has the nut outcome, he hits a captain. Maybe fading him more in the flex, I think would be able to read into that. Aaron Rodgers, 54% overall, 7% at captain. We just talked about him. Garrett Wilson, 51% overall, 15% at captain. I guess 16% if we're rounding up. So for Garrett Wilson here, a lot of captain ownership for him, but I feel like he's probably got the biggest ceiling. Expect a little bit of course correction going Breece Hall's way here, just because a new coach coming in would think he wants to get on the good side of his back, who's clearly having a tough time, struggling to get going to start. Breece Hall has also been pretty inefficient, so I'm not sure how much you can really fix there. Breece Hall in the year, negative 0.19 EPA per rush, negative 0.21 EPA per pass. For comparison's sake, less volume, but Braylon Allen, negative 0.01 EPA per rush, 0.3 EPA per pass. So he's adding value in the pass game, not taking as much away in the run game. Breece Hall is kind of actively not playing that well. So that's that. Alan Lizard. So you're coming in here and giving me Alan Lizard. You can see him on the screen. Alan Lizard. He's right there. James Cook, 43% ownership overall, 9% in captain. Those are your guys up top. Lower owned guys, MVS under 10%. Dawson Knox under 10%. Dawson Knox still gets enough work. He just doesn't get targeted at all. An 8% target per out run rate for Dawson Knox on the year. Only 1 target per game. 0.2 of which inside the red zone. So Dawson Knox's role is shit, but he plays a lot of snaps. So a guy who's going to be out there a lot, at least at 5% ownership, that could work. Jeremy Ruckert, I feel like his snap count's coming down a little bit. Ruckert's at 24 snaps per game. For comparison's sake, Conklin's at, wait, wow. Is that correct? Conklin played 80. No, that's not right. That's Ray McLeod. Okay. Conklin played 59 snaps last week. Still a lot for Conklin. So pretty big gap between Ruckert and Conklin, but Ruckert still technically in play. Ty Johnson seems like he's lost his work a little bit to Ray Davis, or some of it. Ty Johnson last week played 21 snaps, and Ray Davis is down to 2 last week. So would seem like Ty Johnson a better play than Ray Davis. Both guys going to be decently owned. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't do it. Not really great inter-lineup correlation with that one, if that's the way you're trying to play it. I'm glad the kids laugh at Alan Lizard. It does seem more kid appropriate, perhaps than YouTube chat appropriate, but I admire you bringing that energy here. Dad energy always going to play here. All right, let's go to the solver next. Let's see what the optimizer gives us here. Of course, the solver link in the description as well. Go check it out for yourself. The big difference between the solver and stochastic is, number one, on the solver, you're going to be able to optimize your lineups first. So basically, if you wanted to lock in Josh Allen and captain and 2 RBs, you could then build all your best Josh Allen and 2 QB lineups together and then sim them out. Whereas stochastic, it's just going to give you basically what it thinks are the best lineups or the most representative lineups to see how they perform. Let's do the top 25 give us, though. And projections real fast. This is ETR's data that's pulled in, I believe, or it should be as of now. He updated at 10:30. Top projected players. Look at the flex numbers. Josh Allen, number 1. Breece Hall, number 2. Garrett Wilson, number 3. Aaron Rodgers, number 4. James Cook, number 5. So a little bit of a difference from stochastic, I believe. because they were Allen, Hall, Garrett Wilson, Rodgers, Cook. No, you know what? Exactly the same as Stochastic. Cook number 5. So pass catchers from Buffalo, a little bit lower for both sites, it seems. Your top 25 lineups, if you're going to play a cash game right now, this would be your optimal as of 11:15 a.m. on the East Coast. We got Breece Hall at captain, Josh Allen, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Curtis Samuel, who I would really have a hard time playing Curtis Samuel after he couldn't come through last week with no Khalil Shakir. They have a protection on Shakir? It's possible they could not have him in. All right, so this is actually fucked up. So Shakir, I think, is trending towards playing, right? I believe the last that I saw. So the ETR projections don't have Shakir in. The stochastic ones do. So that's going to be a little bit of a difference between both lineups being built today. But this one right now, accounting for no Shakir, which does mean more fantasy points going Samuel's way and Holland's way. So that makes sense, but it's not. Did the Shakir get ruled out? Like, did I miss this? Because last I saw last night, he was still trending towards playing. Just want to make sure I'm accurate on this. Hold on, I have to fucking expand my search. All right. Khalil, Shakir. Just looking on Twitter at the same time period. No, these are all old ones. Shakir does go. They limit his routes to the left, make him a possession receiver, limit his workload. He's 50-50 in my mind, but I haven't seen enough to convince me that he'll play. This is from a Bills beat guy. Or no, this is a fantasy guy? That's a fantasy guy. Never mind. It's a fantasy guy reading into Bills beat people here. Shakir is an important one because I really do think Shakir has been the best receiver in that entire room by a pretty wide margin. Last week, Matt Collins picked up a good amount of the work. Did see more going Dalton Kincaid's way, but Shakir being in or out is really important, and him, how much he's going to be playing as well, is probably also really important. So for right now, we're going to look at the solver, and again, just keep in mind that they're saying Shakir out for the solver, and we're not getting that same look for stochastic. Overall in the top 25, again, assuming no Shakir in today, you're getting 100% Aaron Rodgers, 100% Josh Allen, 100% Breece Hall. So right away, that would be your top 3 players that you either want to be very creative when you are getting all 3 in a lineup. That means playing lower-owned captains. That means playing lower-owned pieces, guys under 10%. If those guys are all in today, or those guys are all in, those guys are all going to be in. Those guys who are not in your lineup, though, you can start stripping them away. So Rodgers, Allen, Breece Hall, the projections are going to force them into more lineups. As a result, play them less, or if you are playing them together, you can be aware of the fact they're probably the best plays in the slate because they're coming up in every single lineup with no sort of boost, no sort of correlation boost or anything like that. These guys come up everywhere. That means that they're good plays, but it also means that they're the plays that everybody's going to think are good plays, no matter what tool they're using. So Rodgers, Allen, Breece Hall, put a pin in that one. That's one to try to move away from or lean into in a more unique way. Curtis Samuel, getting a lot of ownership of him. Again, he did really, thought he was a really big disappointment last week because I really hoped that he was going to get all the Khalil Shakir reps, but he did not. He did play 34 snaps, which is a season high for him. So more snaps would be good. And again, if Shakir is out. So if Shakir is in, going to fuck up everything. True game time decision. All right. He's done a little bit of work. I don't know. Usually a little bit of work means you're going to go. And they need Shakir, I think, because really the rest of the receivers don't do a whole lot. If Shakir is out, though, because we're getting so much Samuel, so much Hollins, I think bringing in a little bit more Keon Coleman, who's going to have the toughest matchups outside, but he's not coming up naturally here. So Coleman, I think, would stand out a little bit more as a result. Stack construction overall. We're getting about 52% of the time, 3 threes, 24% of the time, a 4-2 favoring the Bills. 20% of the time, we're getting a 2-4 favoring the Jets. I'm going to dyslect that. It's 24 for the 4-2 favoring the Bills. 2-4 Bills is going to be at 20%. And we're getting a little bit of Jets onslaughts, but no Bills onslaughts here. So if you played a Bills onslaught, you're going to be a little bit more of an island in terms of your ownership, in terms of your lineup. And again, the goal for Showdown, keep in mind here, yes, you want to play the best plays generally, but really about Showdown, it's about what's the least owned lineup that I can play that has a credible shot at taking in first based on how you're viewing the slate, how the things are giving you data. It's sort of the main thing to keep in mind here. Buffalo onslaught with no Shakir or Cook leaves 5 digits on the table. It's a lot of money to leave on the table, but if you're getting good pass catchers with it, you're still playing Allen at captain, I think that could work. But yeah, leaving money on the table, never a bad thing for Showdown. And on the slate, I mean, seems like leaving money on the table is going to be very viable here. If you went Curtis Samuel at captain, it's only $4,200. Let's go to stochastic sims here. Of course, check out the solver sims on your own if you want to check that out more. Try to get good time in these videos as much as possible. All right, we got contest generator. We're going to do in stochastic is build 10,000 lineups. They're going to compete against each other 10,000 times. So if you want to get spoon-fed lineups that a very sharp site thinks are good lineups, use the stochastic ones. Again, link in the description, 15% off with the promo code SPLASH at stochastic. If you want to control your build, if you want to build stuff, like people are asking in the chat, you want to lock in a couple players and then sim off of that, use the solver. I think it's a little bit stronger for that. So two different approaches. If you want more hand on the wheel, more control, and you have more time, I would say use the solver. If you want to get lineups in fast, like I do on a showdown where I put my kid to bed, he's up until 7:45. I then come down, I have to get lineups out fast in that half hour. Stochastic may be a little bit better for you. So just balance it out accordingly. Let's simulate these out here. Let's see what we get. Another day where it's 33% to first place, so we'll go 35% to first. Let's run this sim. If you appreciate the content, guys, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. So yesterday, we did pass 4K subs, and then, of course, I put up another event, and people unsubscribed because, God forbid, you put up your event in advance. So I think we're back under 4K right now. So your support goes a long way. Just get me safely away from the annoying people who have to unsubscribe in the middle of hitting a milestone for this channel. Please subscribe down below. Get me to like 4,010, so that way I know when we have some people that bounce off, I'm not going to be back under 4K again. Drives me fucking nuts. Exciting stuff coming up, though, for NBA, which I keep teasing out here. I'm waiting to get things papered, but stuff coming up there. Looking like I'll have a presence for NBA, similar to Splash Play every day. So the how and why of that, still figuring out with 1 week before the season, but good stuff coming up here on Splash Play. I'm trying to figure things out now that probably is sort of out of the picture for now. So see, more to come here. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll just keep the neon flashing light up until we're done here. The sim is really compiling results hardcore right in our face. All right. Your top ROI lineups according to Stochastic and their Sims product. We got James Cook, Bills D, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, the Jets, Josh Allen. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys to see more easily. Number 2 is Bills, Breece Hall, Dalton Kincaid, Garrett Wilson, Greg Zuerlein, Josh Allen. So 3 threes up top is your highest ROI lineups right now. Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Greg Zuerlein, Tyler Bass getting in here. So 2 kickers. This kind of game, 2 kickers, I think would work for me pretty well. 2 good defenses. Good defense tend to tighten up the most in the red zone on the year. Let me see if they have any notable thing that would contradict that. Yeah, on the year, the Jets D, negative 0.1 EPA per red zone rush, which is like flat league average. Negative 0.4 per red zone pass, which is better than average. Buffalo in the defense, on their side rather, in the red zone, giving up a 0.2 EPA per red zone rush, so maybe a little bit softer for your Breece Halls, your Braylon Allens to get in. That's one of the worst marks in the league, but negative 0.55 per red zone pass. They've been defending that fairly well. So clamping down the red zone pass game, Buffalo Bills should be able to do. Not so much in the run game. Jets should be able to clamp down relatively on both in the red zone. Your number 4 ROI lineup, Breece Hall. Oh, did we read that one? No. Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, Zuerlein, Josh Allen, Mike Williams, Tyler Bass. So another 2 kicker lineup at the top 5 ROIs. And number 5, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Garrett Wilson, Greg Zuerlein, Josh Allen, Tyler Bass. So a lot of 2 kickers up top, which would make you want to favor the defenses a little bit more, I think, if they're coming up this naturally. But obviously, that's the push-pull of it all when you have a sim product. And then people are going to play a lot of lineups off the sim. How do you get unique off of that? The way it seems like to get unique could be playing less 2-kicker lineups. Sim's expecting a boring-ass game. That's it. Promo code for Stochastic Sims. Yes, 15% off, as I mentioned. It's on the screen. Like XXX, you're here enough. The link in the description down below, 15% off. It's the only promo code I believe they have going right now is the ones that affiliates like me have. And I'm probably one of the only affiliates out there that are actually doing content regularly. So 15% off, link in the description. And that includes all the data tools, the Sims tools, single lineup generator, whatever you want, the regular lineup generator. You get any other products for 15% off the promo code SPLASH. If you were setting me up for a plug, great. But I plugged it like 2 minutes ago. The tight line of the game, not surprised, coming up 3-3. Yeah, that's normally how that would go. Let's look at the overall numbers, though, figure out what we can get from this. So Bills right now, top ROI. So Bills D. So that's interesting. So the sim basically up top gave us a lot of kickers. It still thinks Greg Zuerlein has a high ROI. But kind of like the solver, we talk about a lot with the solver sim tool that I like, is that the solver knows that your best lineups are going to sometimes be leveraging against their own projections, their own data. Here you're getting the Bills D in a little bit more. So Bills D, your top ROI right now in the captain, 22% ROI for them. We'll see how much ownership we get in the moment. Greg Zuerlein, 8% ROI. So he's another positive ROI play in the captain theoretically. And the Bills in the flex, 2%. seeing all this makes me think too, like if you play a shootout, and I don't know what the likelihood of a shootout is happening, given that it's a 41-point combined total here. Both teams a little bit down pace for the most part. Both teams, I guess the Jets pass over expectation by a little bit, but Buffalo under expectation in the pass game. I think if you play a shootout here, everything's going to kind of force you to not playing shootouty builds. And look, I don't on paper expect this to be a shootout game, but again, just trying to play the lower owned outcomes a little bit. If you're doing a 20 max, like play some builds that do anticipate a lot of production here because it's just going to be a lot of people push with the sims towards kickers, towards defenses. Tyler Bass coming up a good amount here with the ROI. That's how that looks right now. Overall exposures, though, your top exposed player would be Josh Allen, the flex. They want you to get 60% compared to the field's 52%. Breece Hall, they want you to get 51% in the flex compared to the field's 45%. So a little bit more for both Josh Allen and Breece Hall. Bills D in the flex, they want you to get 43% compared to 23%. So they want you to double up the amount of Bills D that you're getting. Bills D. Try to see if Bills D is deflecting a lot of passes. Bills D doesn't get home a lot. 5% QB hurry rate. Pressure rate, 20% is not that high. Blitz rate, 15% is pretty low. The sack rate's pretty low as well, under 5%. They deflect passes pretty well downfield, a 21% pass deflection rate downfield, only 4% under 20 air yards. So maybe due for an INT, but hard to say that. I don't like Bills D as much as they do, especially with them coming up this much. Greg Zuerlein, 40% compared to 25% in the flex. Aaron Rodgers wants you to get 40% compared to 47%. So it does not think that Aaron Rodgers is a good play in the flex, which again would mean that he's probably not going to come up a lot of captain. If you were to play Rodgers with, let's say, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Allen Lazard, or Conklin, some combo therein of that group. Mike Williams you could throw into, I suppose. Any of those guys with Rodgers probably not going to come up naturally. So if Rodgers has like throws it back for a vintage passing game, the sims aren't going to push him there quite as much. Tyler Bass, 35% compared to 20. Braylon Allen, 34% compared to 20. So really just slog it out game. They want you to get less Garrett Wilson, 29% in the flex compared to 36. It's interesting to see. I'm in captain right now. They want you to get more Josh Allen, 25% Josh Allen a captain compared to 18%, 23% Breece Hall compared to 19%, 12% Garrett Wilson compared to 15%, so less Garrett Wilson. James Cook flat, 9.3 compared to 9.5. More Bills D, about 3x the amount of Bills D, 6.7% compared to 2.3. Yeah, just playing the Bills D, not even Jets D, huh? Jets D doesn't come up at all. 0.7% compared to 1.3. So playing the Bills D on the road seems to be the Sims' favorite preference here. And overall, more kickers seem to be the two takeaways for that. Let's look at some lineups really fast, and then I'll hand build one and give you guys 3 takeaways to build unique lineups tonight. I'm going to try and stay away from 3-3. You can narrative that teams do well in their first new coach game. You could still, it is still Jets chaos. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, look, 3-3 builds are always going to be kind of the half measure build, to quote Breaking Bad. One of my favorite lines from, I think, really any piece of content ever is, they talk about the concept of like, if you're going to do something, you do it all the way. 3-3 builds generally are kind of half measure builds. Obviously, if it's teams, you expect a lot of production going on. In the Jets case, it is fairly concentrated production. A 3-3 makes more sense. So like, I get why they're coming up, but in general, if you're building 4-2s, especially 5-1s, 5-1s have not been hitting though at the rate I feel like they should. Could be the pricing a little bit softer this year, but it's basically that. Let's look at captains real fast. Interesting captains. Who would an interesting captain be? Allen Lazard captain, I guess. I know it's the first one to come to mind, but he's getting okay work, and you got to think there's a little bit of a bounce back after Garrett Wilson got fed an insane amount of targets. Allen Lazard, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Greg Zuerlein, Josh Allen, Tyler Bass. So 2 kickers again. Lazard, Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Greg Zuerlein, James Cook, 1 kicker. Lazard, Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Greg Zuerlein, Josh Allen, 1 kicker. Lazard, Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Josh Allen, Tyler Bass, Tyler Conklin, 1 kicker. All right. Garrett Wilson captains. Garrett Wilson, Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Zuerlein, Bass. Garrett Wilson, Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Zuerlein, Allen, Bass. Tell you what, and this is not usually a way I would play things on a low total game. If you just take out the kickers, you're going to get away a lot from this stuff because kickers are just getting in everywhere. They're a little too cozy. They're priced better than they've been in the previous few slates, but there's a lot of kicker coming up. And I think whenever you see that much kicker, that means people are going to get forced there a little bit more than they would naturally. Garrett Wilson, Rodgers, Allen Lazard, Breece Hall, Bills, and Jets. So both defenses coming in lieu of the kickers. Garrett Wilson, Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Greg Zuerlein, Jets, Josh Allen. Dreaded defense captain. We can look at it. Jets captain, Jets, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Josh Allen, Tyler Conklin. Jets, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Zuerlein, James Cook. Jets, Bills D, Breece Hall, Kincaid, Garrett Wilson, Josh Allen. This one leaves 1,400 on the table. I don't know about Jets. No. With how inaccurate Josh Allen's been, Jets at captain's probably a little more viable than the Sims are giving credit for. Those are your top three. Bills defense captain. Bills, Breece, Kincaid, Garrett Wilson, Zuerlein, Josh Allen, kicker again. Bills, Breece, Cook, Jets, Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir makes it against Stochastic, has Khalil Shakir in. ETR does not have him in yet. Bills, Breece Hall, or maybe won't ever have him in if he doesn't play. Bills, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir, Conklin. Bills, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Jets, Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir. So weird. Shakir seems to be making it in all the Bills defense captain ones. Mike Williams captain. Oh boy, you guys are asking. I mean, honestly, a lot of the captains are going to be dog shit, but I get it. Mike Williams captain. I really don't know how you get there. I guess his routes have been up 2.8 targets a game, though. It's got to get better. I don't know how much better it gets. Mike Williams captain with Aaron Rodgers, Braylon Allen, and Zuerlein, Cook, Josh Allen. Mike Williams, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Kincaid, Jets, Josh Allen. Mike Williams, Rodgers, Breece Hall, Jets, Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir. None of this really does a lot for me. Real fast, look at kind of binary ones here. Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, Zuerlein, Allen, Mike Williams, Tyler Bass. I feel like having the RB captain and the kicker in, it's usually not as low as it should be because like the RB getting their captain usually pulls away from the kicker because of the fact the RB scoring touchdowns is the main thing. If the RB scoring touchdowns, kicker's probably getting a little bit less. I guess the fact they don't have like Garrett Wilson in here probably helps a little bit. But this one with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Zuerlein, I feel like that would be a hard one to hit. Because basically if Garrett Wilson's having enough success, they're close enough that Braylon Allen or that Breece Hall should be scoring touchdowns, I guess, or Braylon Allen. But there's like a push-pull dynamic with kickers and RBs that like sometimes Sims overlook a little bit. But Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Garrett Wilson, Zuerlein, Josh Allen, Tyler Bass, your number 2 ROI for Breece Hall captains. Your number 3 ROI is Breece Hall, Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Jets, Josh Allen, Tyler Conklin. At least that one leaves some money on the table. You are going with an onslaught. That I can live with a little bit more. And you're not having a real pass catcher in there who's going to move the ball a lot in a range where the RB should be finishing drives. I guess no kicker in it too, so that does help. All right. What else? I feel like captain-wise, there's really not a lot. Keon Coleman? Keon Coleman can't really hit a captain. I think Dalton Kincaid can hit a captain. If he had one more big play, like he had one 50-yard pass that went between his fingers last week, had a couple other plays that felt like were pretty close to hitting. Kincaid, in my mind, should have been the biggest beneficiary from Shakir being out. Kincaid captain with Rodgers, Bills, Breece Hall, Jets, Josh Allen. So basically the Sims saying here, Kincaid at captain means the rest of the game goes pretty dog shit and both defenses can make it. So fades both RBs, or fades Breece Hall, fades most of the RBs would be the better way to put that. Kincaid, Rodgers, Lazard, Bills, Josh Allen, Mike Williams. Kincaid, Bills, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Josh Allen. Man. Tell you what, looking at the Sims even more, you take out kickers and defense. And I think that's really one pathway here where I feel like the Sims are going to force people to play one or the other, and you could just play neither, and I think that would work. All right. I think we've gotten most of the fun ones out of the way. Let's go and hand build it out. All right, so hand build here, of course, this is one of the cheaper tools you can get with Stochastic. If you want to pay a little bit less, don't want to pay for the full Sims product, use this one instead to hand build. Works well in mobile as well if you're trying to build some good lineups on the flow or on the fly. Slate's dog shit, but we need this. I mean, look, any slate is still a playable slate. It's not dog shit just for us. It's dog shit for everybody trying to play it. So you got to keep in mind what they're going to play. And they're going to look at it and I think probably go, oh yeah, kickers and defense. This game looks like it sucks. And in reality, playing functional pass games and maybe, and it's still with the run games getting there, like Breece Hall can get there if the pass games are functional. I think that's the move. How much does a new coach course correct to shut up his RB. His RB is having a bad year to try to get him right. I do think Breece Hall, captain, works. Still would like to play the pass game more, but if I put a pass game forward build here in the single lineup sim, it's not going to give me a good ROI. I'm pretty confident in that. Breece Hall going to be really highly owned to captain too. I'm doing it. What's a pass game forward build? I think it's an Aaron Rodgers build. So Aaron Rodgers at QB captain, real narrow outcome. The projection's not going to be good, but we could make this work. If he's going to get there, he's probably having some good checkdowns to Breece Hall that work. Garrett Wilson, some good plays as well. Does Josh Allen run more in a game where Aaron Rodgers is quote unquote going off? Call this dog shit. Wait until we have Pats Jags next Sunday AM. Thankfully, I don't play the London games, but that is one that probably will be not a lot of fun. Though, honestly, if I had to guess, that's one where Drake May should probably have a decent day. Jags D is right now one of the best teams to attack. As I pointed out here, Caleb Williams, mentioned it briefly yesterday, but Caleb Williams was one of my top bets in my prop bets column on fantasy points. He hit his over on 2 touchdowns that I had at plus money. And then David Montgomery hit at plus 410 for me yesterday, two plus touchdowns that one. So feel really good about the prop betting stuff this weekend. DFS too, I doubled up, so felt pretty good about this week. Anyway, point being though, Drake May should probably strafe the Jags if he's got anything in him. And I think he does after what he showed yesterday. Rodgers, Breece, Garrett Wilson. Do we need another one in here? I think we kind of need to overload it. And Conklin, again, decent matchup. I think he gets a little bit underplayed. 22% ownership overall, rounding up to 23. So we'll get him in. James Cook on the other side, I think works. And then one pass catcher or Josh Allen here. We got 2,900 left. I think Mac Hollins, so this again assumes that Shakir is in, do the stochastic projections. Mac Hollins is the better projection. Do we pay up? Is it paying up to be contrarian to play Curtis Samuel here? Let's see. Not sold on this lineup, but this is what a pass dominant build with Aaron Rodgers, I think, for these guys all hitting and Rodgers to make it a captain, what it would take. We got Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, James Cook, Curtis Samuel, fading the defenses, fading the kickers that we believe are going to get into a lot more lineups today. Not bad, negative 7%. Could certainly be better. What if we go Mac Hollins instead? We want the Jags to start Mac Jones. I don't think we're there yet, but them icing Travis Etienne kind of surprised me a little bit. Etienne, I think, had like 11 snaps in that game. All right, 26% ROI, wins 0.1% of the time. They now give you like feedback almost there. So it's telling you to like try to make it a little bit better. I don't know what would make it a little bit better. Somebody better than James Cook? Can we do that? Is there anybody better than James Cook? All right, Kincaid and Mac Hollins getting there. What does this do? Any chance we can make a slip on Underdog? This game, I don't I don't really want to. I don't think that's it for me. It's really not one I have strong leads on like that. Oh, that got a lot worse. All right, so I think the one with Cook is it. I'll look at it. Just because it's Tyler, I'll take a look at it, but I don't want to start doing pickups here. We actually made good time today. But let's take a quick look at a pick'em and see what we can do. Pick'em. Refresh this tab instead. All right. What would we do? I think the Breece Hall higher would make sense to me. I think no matter what he gets there today, for this number of yards, to me, I feel pretty good about that. For Breece Hall, really a player that I think if you're a coach coming in, the first thing you have to do is kind of placate him, especially coming off last week where Garrett Wilson got fed more targets than anybody in football's had by, like, I don't know, this year, like 2x. To me, I feel like Breece Hall at this spot here, rushing and receiving feels a little bit better. The rushing line is kind of low, but I'd rather get both because I think check downs against Buffalo are going to be on the menu. Buffalo's defense on the year. Buffalo's defense actually funneling targets to RBs. 25% target rates RBs, 0.4 EPA. Both numbers would be amongst the worst in the league. So Breece Hall in the pass game, I think, is the main thing. And honestly, Breece Hall higher on 24.5 receiving yards wouldn't upset me too much. Josh Allen. I kind of want to take a lower on Josh Allen. What's his? I don't know. I don't have his yards per rush numbers handy, but he's not running enough. And the Jets are going to clamp down on QB runs. combined total of passing and rushing feels a little bit trappy. I just don't know that this is the Josh Allen explosion spot. I'll go lower on 33.5 rushing yards for Josh Allen. Just not encouraged with the usage so far. 5.2 rushes a game for Josh Allen. Like, he is so far off the Jaden Daniels, Lamar tier, Jalen Hurts tier. Like, all these guys are about 10 a game. Allen's at about now half that. So, like, we're talking about, to me, a material difference in what he's doing overall. So I'll take Josh Allen on this one. This is kind of a fun one to me. Aaron Rodgers, higher on 1.5 rushing yards. He's running 2.2 times a game, a little bit more than it would seem. Obviously, a tough defensive matchup here. Expect a lot of RB targets coming as well. But I would do higher on 1.5 rushing yards. It's a pretty low bar to hit, and he does seem to run a little more reliably. Almost if he's showing off like, hey, this Achilles ain't that bad, guys. I feel like it's just been running a little bit more than I would guess. So I'll add in a higher on Aaron Rodgers, 1.5 rushing yards. That's what the plug for Underdog are doing to see. Promo code SPLASH, by the way, in Underdog, if you want $1,000 in bonus cash. And for some reason, you're not following me during basketball season playing on there, play some pick'ems. You can tell from our guy Tyler here, is a sharp player. Still fun to play pick'ems. So I can in PA, unfortunately, but I certainly would if I could. Garrett Wilson, 9.5 targets. He's averaging 11. Does that come down here? I'm not sure about the target numbers. I would go higher in his receiving yards, I think. I feel like if you're a new coach coming in, I feel like the goal has to be, and I know I've said it a few times at Breece Hall, but Garrett Wilson, look, he got placated last week. Still think like that was a deliberate showing of will there for Garrett Wilson. Todd Downing is new OC there, a new play caller there. Is he going to call? He's not a good play caller. He's not an aggressive play caller. Let's just skip Garrett Wilson for now. Dalton Kincaid, I feel pretty confident about the higher on. I would take 38.5 receiving yards for him. I feel like he just was really close to a big game last week, and I feel like 38.5 is not a big line for him, even though his ADOT's been really bad on the year. Getting basically 7.8 yards per target, which is not bad, but could be a little bit better for a guy who's not getting a crush of targets. We'll go Kincaid higher here as well. The Keon Coleman one is a little bit too variable based on Shakir, so I wouldn't feel great about that one either. James Cook. Well, we're doing the lower for Josh Allen. We don't have a straight rushing prop for Cook. I'll do higher here. I'll do higher for James Cook, 76.5 rushing and receiving. So if I were to build the pick'em, it's probably my favorite one. I have to be completely clear though. For me, pick'ems, like I like having a full slate at my disposal rather than one game, because I just think trying to get same game parlays is just not something I generally want to chase. I don't think it's the most plus EV. The people out there might feel differently. Breece Hall, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook, I guess you should give the lines as well. Breece Hall higher, 87.5 rushing and receiving yards. Josh Allen lower, 33.5 rushing yards. Aaron Rodgers higher, 1.5 rushing yards. So we're playing the Aaron Rodgers rushing QB build here. Dalton Kincaid higher on 38.5 receiving yards, and James Cook higher on 76.5 rushing and receiving yards. Don't feel fantastic about this card, but that's the card here, mostly for our boy Tyler. I hope it pans out. Let me know how poorly or not poorly it does. 3 takeaways, build unique lineups today, though, for the DraftKings Showdown. Number one, I think it really seems obvious to me, would be playing less kickers, less defenses. The projections are going to give you more kickers, it seems. The sims are going to give you more defenses. So both are trying to give you a build that plays to the lower total. For you, if you're putting in 1 or 2 entries into a Millie Maker or the 500K to first place tournament, if you're trying to get something different in a 20 max, like, yeah, you're playing a 20 max, you should be playing some amount of the expected builds here. Play your kickers, play your defenses, play them in the way that the sims are telling you, that projections are telling you. If you're trying to get one that could bubble up, and it's an outcome that's not too hard to hit, like low scoring total games shoots out, happens a lot. So play a shootout. Like that's it. So similarly, playing the blowout builds, playing 5-1 dominant builds for either the Bills or the Jets, going to be underowned here. The low total, the tight total, the projections, the quality players on both sides, especially the Jets having kind of must-have guys, going to make people want to play pretty evenly from both sides. So playing a more dominant build, I think that's a nice slate. And then you can play your kickers too. But if you play like a 5-1 build, play the kicker and the defense together. It's one way to try to make that kicker and defense ownership matter a little bit more, or else the sims that I think are just going to force them in a lot. Number 3 would be, we talked about it at the top when you see the 100% players. So it was Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and it was Garrett Wilson, right? Who was the third one? is appearing everywhere. It was Breece Hall, right? Obviously, Breece Hall. So Breece Hall, Josh Allen, or Aaron Rodgers appear in every build right now. So if you play 2 out of those 3 guys, 1 out of those 3 guys, 0 out of those 3 guys, you're chopping yourself away from the large portion of the field. And it doesn't mean that Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall are not good plays. If they weren't good plays, they wouldn't be in 100% of lineups just based off the projections. But when that happens naturally, that means that everybody who's playing lineups tonight using projections is going to get driven to those guys a little bit more. So at least try to get unique with it if you are putting those 3 guys in. But if you want to get unique straight away, just chop those 3 guys out of a lineup. You'll have a lot less ownership going to you overall. But there we go, guys. That's it for today. Again, subscribe down below. I assume we must have passed 4K during this video, but if not, please subscribe down below. Get me safely to 4,010 so I don't have to worry about a few unsubscribers knocking me back below 4K. But we hit the milestone. We'll hit it again, I guess. But please like and subscribe. Show some love here because I don't get paid for this really. I just make money off YouTube and affiliate money, and it's not like a real job. But I still show up and do it because I believe in what I'm doing here. I appreciate your guys' support, your kind words. I know it helps a lot of you guys out there. So I'm doing the work in the hopes it pays off. So help it pay off. Like and subscribe. Check out Stochastic if you want to support the show. 15% off all the deals that they have there. Data, Sims, it's all 15% off with promo code SPLASH. And try to go for a month if you can because it helps me get more money off it as well. Solver, same thing. Link in the description for that one. Basketball Overlay if you're doing Battle Royale drafts. Why not? Give those guys the plug too. And hey, that's it. It's always money time here. Gamble responsibly, though, even despite that. I'll be back tomorrow for the best ball review. It was looking really good yesterday, and then we got back down to average after the Sunday night game. I don't think I'm going to be very Bills and Jets dominant in terms of my lineup, so probably to be another under-average best ball review show today or tomorrow coming up, but I'll still do the work here. I'll still talk about it, and hey, hopefully one of these weeks we're going to be like 30% advanced. I have fucking 20, as of my count this morning, 22 lineups right now are currently in 3rd place. So a lot flowing through the wind for me right now for best ball that hopefully will go well down the home stretch. Back tomorrow, though, guys. See you guys then. No matter what you're playing, good luck. Leave some comments if you want. Replies on those as well. Check out the VIP Discord. Join down below to get access to that for $4.99. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with more. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye-bye.